Hi, I'm Michael Shern with Hudson County TV here at the Steam Cafe in Jersey City, where I got the opportunity to interview two Ward E candidates, Dan Levin and Candice Osborne.
For people who don't know you in Ward E, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running?
Well, to answer the most important question, why I'm running because I want to make a difference, and I believe that I can make a difference. My history, I grew up in Atlanta. I moved here to pursue a graduate degree and didn't originally have any intention of staying here, but kind of fell in love with the city, the community, the people. As a single mom with a family 1,000 miles away, I didn't have a built-in support network, and the people of the community really became my support network. So I fell in love with the city. After graduating from business school, I bought a condo, and I started paying taxes. My son was getting older, and schooling options became more important. And so I began to have a feeling that the government wasn't supporting the community. As awesome of a community as it is, the government wasn't supporting the community as much as I hoped.
My name is Dan Levin. I'm running for Ward E City Council. I've been a resident for about 70 years, and for most of those years I've been very active in our community. I'm running because I want to get things done. I've done a lot of things, and I want to continue guiding many of the initiatives that have been underway for a long time to fruition. I've led the Howard's Cove Association as president for 2 years back in the early 2000s. I've helped start a good government group, Civic Jersey City. I've also helped founded with a bunch of others, a group called Bike JC, which is working to implement bike lanes throughout the city and traffic calm. I've been, whether leadership, whether as a founding member of a group, and sometimes just as a volunteer. I always work with others and want to bring people together to get things done.
Why are you the best candidate for Ward E going forward as the city faces the property reevaluation?
So as the city faces the property reevaluation, one of the things that's very concerning is that it's going to be disruptive, especially for people on fixed income. It's also going to be disruptive for people who have low taxes, and they're going to go up quite a bit because there is an imbalance after all of these years. In hindsight, I don't think that now, especially following Hurricane Sandy, because home prices are low, because we're running a structural deficit, probably not the right time to do it, but we have to do it.
Well, I've been at the forefront with many other people about reducing spending, streamlining services, sharing services, because the reevaluation in theory is to make it fair for everyone, based upon property taxes and your property value. But because it's done we're almost 30 years out from the last one, it's very disruptive. People buy a property, a home, a condo, on a mortgage payment, a monthly payment, not on how much their property is worth, it's what they can afford each month, and this will change it, and it can hurt people.
Are Ward E residents getting good bang for their buck, their property tax dollars? Are they getting an amount of services back as they are sending towards the city?
Well, there's a lot of, I guess, it depends if people step back and look at everything. If you look at what our neighborhood looked like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, are you happy with it now? Have we made progress? Is it cleaner? Is it safer? Do we have beautiful parks? And I think when you look at it from that perspective, the answer is yes. You walk out your door and it doesn't look like it did. You don't have toxic dumps down in Paul's Hook anymore. There's development there where you wouldn't have wanted to even walk by. Hamilton Park is it's a world-class park, as is Van Voorst Park. And it's easy to get frustrated when you want something to change quickly. But if you take a step back and have a little perspective, we have a wonderful, beautiful neighborhood down here. And I like living here.
The taxpayers are investors, and I view them as customers, and the city should view them as customers. I don't believe that the city does view them as customers right now. And many of them are investing. I spoke with a guy this morning who pays $17,000 a year in taxes. And he has no options for parking, and he's really frustrated by the fact that he can't get a parking permit online. Why can't he submit that? I mean, we can do everything online. You can submit your taxes online. And so I think that no, the answer is we're not getting a good return on the investment that we're making.
What would you specifically look to cut from the Jersey City budget, and what would you look to specifically spend more money on?
There's an overall concept called priority-based budgeting, where you actually go out and survey and study people's needs and where, as a community, where as a city, we want our resources to go. I mean, obviously what comes to mind is public safety, which is always the toughest one because it takes up about 3/4 of our budget if you throw in benefits. So it's not where I can say we can cut or increase, it's where the constituency comes forward and say what are their priorities. I mean, I think we can merge the autonomous agencies back into the city, the incinerator authority, the parking authority, and there's a lot of savings that I still believe can be cut out, even though they've gone through a course-cutting rounds. There's always ways.
From the perspective of cutting, what I'd like to see happen is I would like to see some of these autonomous agencies that are sitting kind of outside of the management of the city. So you can look at an agency like the Jersey City Incinerator Authority. And what that agency does is the taxpayer's on the hook for the bills that are created from that department, but they don't have any oversight capacity. And so by bringing that under the management of the city, we have an opportunity to say, okay, you know what, we're gonna be responsible for paying the bills, but we also are gonna be able to make sure that we get the services that we want out of it. Right now, they can kind of do whatever they want, and we have to pay the bills, if you will. In terms of where we should be allocating more money, we spend a lot of our money on kind of our operating expenses with no planning towards the future. So what I would like to see is us thinking about things like infrastructure parks, like long-term capital investment.
Would you vote to raise property taxes to support new revenues to pay for more public safety in different wards of the city?
You know, in a little bit, I feel like it's a little bit of a red herring question, but what I would say is I would think that the way that we spend money and the amount of money that we need needs to reflect the priorities of the city. And I'm not going to give like a blanket answer to that statement. I think that there are a lot of opportunities for saving money, and my strong preference is to go after that first. But we have to take care of the priorities of the city.
I think it's too simplistic a question. I mean, I understand the concept, and I believe we need to get to an adequate level of services throughout the city, whether it's Ward E, Ward F, Ward A, Ward B, C, D. But I don't think, I would consider anything on the table.
As far as Jersey City public workers go, would you support moving Jersey City public workers' retirement plans from a defined benefit plan to a defined contribution plan?
I would support for new employees of the Jersey City government moving them into a defined contribution as opposed to a defined benefit. I think when you make a promise to an existing group of people, you have to keep it. And I think now it would be a great time over the next several years to try and make that shift.
Yes, in some various form, absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I think going back perhaps 20 years, the post office brought new hirees on at a different level of pay and different level of benefits than the existing people at that time. It's a shifting, as pay gets more and more closer to the private sector, we've got to bring benefits closer and closer to the private sector.